Play clock at 5. Pass is intercepted at the goal line by Malcolm Butler. Unreal. It's White. He's in. Patriots win the Super Bowl. Brady has his 5th. What a comeback.
This is All Eyes on the Pats podcast.
Welcome to another episode of All Eyes on the Pats podcast. I'm your host, Steve Atkinson. Got a full show tonight talking everything Patriots, starting with J.C. Jackson calling out the Patriots for not reaching out to him about a new contract. J.C. Jackson feels disrespected when it comes to the Patriots. He thinks he's Mr. NINT, I should say, as he told Phil Perry from NBC Sports Boston yesterday in a podcast. And I'm going to get into that. I'm also going to get into the records from the Patriots and their cornerbacks from 2010 to 2021 this past season. And I'm also going to look at the drafts that Belichick has had since 2015. But first, I'm going to get into this J.C. Jackson story because it is pretty fascinating. His comments to Phil Perry from NBC Sports Boston. This is what he told Phil yesterday. He said that the Patriots have not been in touch with him about a new contract since the end of the season. I guess they feel they don't need me, Jackson said. I guess I can't be that important to them. I know I am, but they're not showing me. End quote. I love the game, he said. If they tag me, I'm going to go out there and play. So if they tag him, he's going to be making like $17.3 million. But here's the thing. You don't say, I guess they feel like they don't need me. I guess I can't be that important to them. I know I am, but they're not showing me. Okay. Belichick's going to hear that and say, there's the door. Okay? What happened to Gilmore and Seymour and Wilfork even? A lot of Patriot players. You don't respect Bill. You go to the media. I don't think Wilfork went to the media, but he had a contract issue. But J.C. Jackson has gone to the media about his pay. He was undrafted. He made $3 million last year. He wants to get his money. But at the end of this article, Jackson says, what does he say? Jackson says, whatever happens, happens. I'm taking it day by day. But it's time for me to get paid. It's time to get Mr. INT paid. Mr. INT, who got burned by Stephon Diggs in the AFC wildcard card game against the Bills. Mr. INT, shutdown corner, again, didn't show up in the most important game of the season in January and quit on the Patriots. That defense quit on Mac Jones in that game, okay? Mac Jones was the best player on the field against the Bills. Mr. INT, he's not Mr. INT. He's not. He's an average corner. He's not your shutdown corner. He's not Stephon Gilmore. He's not Darrelle Revis that he thinks he is. He's not. So I just don't understand, if you're the Patriots, if you don't franchise tag him, where do you go? Do you go in the draft, which is what I think they should do? I think they should release him. I think they should they should trade him or just say, see you later. We don't need you because, you want to talk about contracts into the media and say that, you feel disrespected to the media. Okay, there's the door. See you later. We don't need you. And Gilmore probably talked to Jackson and said, this is what they do, this is what Bill does, and blah, blah, blah. And Jackson's going to the media and saying, they feel disrespected, they haven't contacted me, blah, blah, blah. The next time Bill contacts J.C. Jackson, it's going to be, see you later. Okay? So, Bill's probably already on the phone with teams. Like, or what do you want? Do you want us to get? Do you want us to trade? Do you want to, get teams for Jackson? I mean, I'm sure that there are teams out there that want him, but again, he's not a shutdown corner, right? So I'm gonna play you. Phil Perry spoke on Early Edition. I think it was last night about J.C. Jackson and his future with the Patriots.
What did you gather from your conversation with him about how he's feeling about his future with the Patriots?
I think it's fair to say frustrated. I think antsy is another word that comes to mind, because this is somebody who has waited for several years now to have his opportunity to get paid. We know he came into the league as an undrafted rookie. He's not making a ton of money. The first 3 years of his career, last year he makes just over $3 million. So he's enthusiastic, trendy about his new contract and where that might be coming from. And I think this is just a byproduct in some ways of how the Patriots do business. They're not going to be checking in with guys on a daily basis necessarily. And the tag window just opened today. They have 2 weeks to decide whether or not they want to use the tag. And they're not always keeping players abreast of every conversation that's happening inside the building. So I think he's frustrated. He's a little impatient because he's wondering, we haven't spoken since the end of the regular season or the end of last season. When are you going to come to me and let me know how important you think I am?
Do you expect J.C. Jackson to be on the Patriots roster for 2022?
I do, and I think it might be the franchise tag. Because if you're going to pay him market value, it's going to be upwards of $20 million a year. That's the Jalen Ramsey deal. 5 years, $100 million is what he signed. He might not get to that level, but he'll get damn close just from conversations I've had with executives across the league. And I'm not sure that that's necessarily going to be feasible for the Patriots. So it might be 1 year on the tag and done for J.C. Jackson.
So when he said, I want you to know how important I am to this team, Bill treats everyone equally, right? He doesn't put anyone higher than the team. And that's why Brady ended up, got the boot, because he obviously got bigger than the team, and Brady is obviously bigger than the team, and Bill treats everyone the same. Everyone's, competing for a job. Nobody's better than this person. So for Jackson, Bill's not going to put up with, Mr. INT needs to be respected. You're not respecting me. And guess what? See you later. There's the door. Since 2010, okay? Here's the Patriots' record in their cornerback position since 2010. Starting in 2010, the Patriots went 14-2. Their cornerback was Devin McCourty and Kyle Arrington. McCourty was a rookie. 2011, they went to the Super Bowl and lost to the Giants. They went 13-3. Again, the cornerback was Devin McCourty, Kyle Arrington. 2012, they went 12-4. Cornerback, Devin McCourty, Kyle Arrington. 2013, 12-4. Aqib Talib and Alfonso Dennard. 2014, 12-4. They won the Super Bowl. Darnell Revis and Brandon Browner. 2015, 12-4. Malcolm Butler, Logan Ryan. 2016, 14-2. Won the Super Bowl. Malcolm Butler, Logan Ryan. 2017, 13-3. Malcolm Butler and Stephon Gilmore. 2018, 11-5. They won the Super Bowl. Jason McCourty, Stephon Gilmore. 2019, Brady's last year. 12-4. Jason McCourty, Stephon Gilmore. Brady's on the Buccaneers. Cam Newton's the quarterback. They're 7-9 with Jason McCourty, Stephon Gilmore as the cornerback. And then 2021, they went 10-7 with J.C. Jackson and Jonathan Jones as the cornerbacks. So, you're 14-2, 13-3, 12-4. You have winning seasons. You're winning Super Bowls with somewhat average to great talent at corner. But like Devin McCourty's not a great cornerback, right? He's not an elite cornerback, but in 2010 you went 14-2 because you had Tom Brady making up for what you had on defense. Just like in the draft, since 2015, the Patriots drafted, this was their first 3 picks since 2015. So it was Malcolm Butler, Jordan Richards, fail. And Geno Grissom, fail. 2016, Cyrus Jones, fail. Joe Tooney, he's pretty good. Jacoby Brissett, fail. 2017, Derek Rivers, Antonio Garson. Dietrich Wise is the only hit on 2017. 2018, Isaiah Wynn, or some like to say Isaiah Lose. Sony Michel, that's okay. And Duke Dawson, fail. 2019, N'Keal Harry, fail. Jawan Williams, fail. Chase Winovich, we've never seen him. He's too busy doing a social media thing. 2020, Kyle Duggar, good. Josh Uche, Ferentz, and Jennings. 2021 was Mac Jones, Christian Barmore, and Ronnie Perkins. 2021 was the best draft year since, I don't know, but last year's draft, because it was more collaborative, was a lot better. So the holes on defensive side, because you don't have Brady, and I'm sorry to bring this up, but it's true, you now have to go into the draft and draft better because you don't have that quarterback anymore to make up for what you miss on the rest of the side, on the rest of the team, I should say. Like Mac Jones, in his second year, if he gets a top receiver or gets a receiver he went to school with and makes a Joe Burrow leap, they could be in the hunt for the Super Bowl, and I believe that. I believe that Mac Jones can make that leap, get him some talent, get him someone he played with that was good, like a Jamar Chase thing with Joe Burrow, and make a run. And they could. They could. But on the defensive side of the ball, they don't have corners. Really. Like after J.C. Jackson, who do you have? Jalen Mills? Who's not really a corner? Is Gerard Mayo going to be calling the plays? Is he going to get that promotion to call the plays on defense? And here's the other thing on the offensive, and I'm going to get to the offensive side too with the coaching, because that's crazy. You know, Bill Belichick's not going to bring in outside talent. He's not going to bring in a Bill O'Brien and a Adam Gase. He's going to have Matt Patricia coach the offensive line. Joe Judge is going to coach the quarterbacks. They say that Joe Judge ruined Daniel Jones with the Giants, but I do not think Bill Belichick is going to let Joe Judge ruin Mac Jones. So I think Joe Judge will be fine with Mac Jones because Bell's not going to let him ruin him. He's not. So it will make not only look bad on Joe Judge, but it will also look bad on Bill. So I don't think that will happen. And I think they said Nick Caley's going to do tight ends or something. Another offensive assistant. And then Matt Patricia is going to call the plays. But, you know, when we're talking about the defense and this J.C. Jackson thing, for him to think that he can say that, you know, well, I need to get my due, I need to get my say, and it's just, who are you? You know, like, yeah, you're on the Patriots, you had a good year, but in the biggest game, you failed. You quit on your quarterback. You quit on your team. You let Josh Allen beat you. You let Stephon Diggs beat you. Like, who are you? Like, get out, you know? Here's the thing about Bill, though. Bill used to be able to get talent on the defensive side, and he can average talent and make them good. Like, J.C. Jackson's good, but he's not Gilmore. And if you don't have, I'm sorry, when you have the Brady as your quarterback for 20 years and you're going, you know, in 2018, 11-5 with Jason McCourty on one side and Stephon Gilmore on the other side, and you're winning the Super Bowl at 11-5. I mean, Gilmore, yeah. McCourty, though, average, right? And then once Brady leaves, like Brady's last year was 12-4, you lose in the wild card game against the Titans. You know, they got to draft a cornerback. That's what I would do. I would draft a corner or two. At least, you know. And I'm going to be doing a draft show. It's going to be on video. It's going to start next week, and I'm going to do it every month. So 1 week will be linebackers. I'm going to do it every week for 2 months, I should say. 1 week in March is going to be defense, linebackers, defensive line, safety, cornerback. And then that's March. And then in April, I'll do the offense. Wide receiver, tight ends, running backs, quarterbacks, offensive line. And that will lead us into the draft. But the Patriots have to be more collaborative. Like, Bill needs to have a more collaborative draft. When he had a more collaborative draft last year, he hit on all his picks. Now, granted, Mac Jones slid to them, and maybe they didn't want Mac Jones, but he was the best option available, and they took him, and it was a hit. Christian Barmore was a hit. Ronnie Perkins is a hit. That was a great draft. That was a good draft last year, right? We'll see how they develop in year 2, right? But when you're talking about overall, it's clear that you don't have what you had for 20 years in Tom Brady to cover up the holes on the rest of your team. Now you have to work harder because you don't have that cushion. Because you knew Brady was going to pull it out of his ass every time. And we see that now. Yeah, they had great cornerbacks in the years past with Revis and Ty Law. But Bill always had a plan after. Right? With Revis, it was Ty Law, Sante Samuel. And then there was kind of a lull in 2010 with Devin McCourty, but you still went for it. Bill's like, you was still going 14-2, who cares? We'll just plug anyone in there. And that was his mentality, because we have the quarterback to bail us out. And that's why Brady was getting pissed. We're 14-2 in 2010 with Devin McCourty as a cornerback as a rookie. 13-3 in 2011. We're going to the fucking Super Bowl. Who gives a shit? We're just going to plug anyone in. Why? Because we have the quarterback, I should say. Because he can do whatever. He can cover up for everything. And everyone's praising Belichick, which is true. Like, Bill's a great defensive mind. He's a great coach, right? So I don't want this to come off as, well, Bill sucks because he doesn't have Brady, because it's not true, because he's a great coach, right? He's the best coach in the league. Okay, he's the greatest coach of all time. It's just, when you have, Devin McCourty as your cornerback in 2012, and then, 2013 is Aqib Talib, which is pretty good, and Alfonso Dennard, and then you get Revis, right? Then you're really good, and Brandon Brown, and you win the Super Bowl. And then in 2016, you got Malcolm Butler and Logan Ryan, and you're doing good there. I mean, and then Malcolm Butler gets benched in 2017 against the Eagles, and then he's gone. So, yeah, with average talent at the cornerback position, you were fine. Like, you were fine even with J.C. Jackson, right? This year. He's just not a Gilmore. So like I was saying, you had Revis. After that, you had Malcolm Butler. After that, you had Stephon Gilmore. After that, you had J.C. Jackson. What do you have after J.C. Jackson? Nothing. You have nothing after J.C. Jackson. You have no plan. You have no other person to replace him. I mean, Jalen Mills, I guess. I would draft somebody. You gotta draft someone. Like that Wade guy they traded for. Sorry, his first name's escaping me at the moment. But he didn't really contribute to the team as much last year. So I just think that, you know, if you're the Patriots, you need to do things more than you used to do, because you don't have that cushion of the quarterback, especially of Tom. So, you know, and that's a problem, you know, because now Bill can get exposed and people can say, well, he's nothing without Brady, which isn't true. He has a good team. They can go on a run, you know. They could. They have the talent for the most part. They're just missing a few things. They have a tight end. They have a quarterback. You know, maybe they bring Jacoby Myers back. You know? Maybe they go out of their way and, you know, sign like a Chris Godwin or Devontae Adams or something. I doubt it, because I don't think they're going to pay. Excuse me. I would go get Chris Godwin, though. And I would cut N'Keal Harry, your 2019 first-round pick that Brady kicked to the side of the curb. So, yeah, I mean, I think I would do that. I would definitely go get a, you know, Chris Godwin, if the Buccaneers don't tag him. That would be great for Mac Jones. You know, that could be your number one if you wanted to. And then, you know, draft somebody and develop them. And, you know, they do need a slot guy. They need like an Edelman, and I said this before, an Amendola, Wes Welker kind of type of thing. They do need that for Mac. So, before I wrap it up here, I'm going to play Mike Giardi, what he said today on NFL Network on J.C. Jackson and where things stand with him and the New England Patriots.
Well, there's a lot to unpack here with J.C. Jackson. Let's start with this. The New England Patriots would like to continue to work with the player. That's why they made an offer to him during the season, but I'm told by a well-placed source that offer was essentially a non-starter, that it was more of that, yes, hometown discount type feel to it than this is going to be a guy who's headed to the open market and deserving of a big contract. And I think when you look at what J.C. Jackson has done, especially over these last 2 years, the ball skills, the durability, the ability to come up and help in the run, which is something that the Patriots really value among their cornerbacks. You're not just back there to play defense on the pass. You've got to be able to commit to run force and be a physical player. J.C. Jackson will give them that opportunity, will give them that play when they give him that opportunity. Now, the other thing that he mentioned there is, you know, he would play under the franchise tag. Well, of course he would. It's a lot of money for 1 year, but it's not ideal. It's not the situation my source says that camp would like to have J.C. Jackson. And when you look at J.C. Jackson's age, and again, his production, I think he wants to be paid in the top 5 of cornerbacks. So we're talking in the Jalen Ramsey, Byron Jones, Marshawn Lattimore, that company. That's where he wants to be at right now. And I don't know whether the Patriots are going to be willing to do that long term. So can they find something in the middle? I don't know that something in the middle is going to get it done.
Like I said, $17.3 million for Mr. INT calling out the Patriots and to the media. If I'm Belichick, I can tell him to go take his $17.3 million and shove it. And see you later, there's the door. Because that's what he's going to do. He's not going to pay him. He's not going to pay him. He's going to say, see you later. Because that's one thing you do not do with the Patriots. You're not bigger than the team. You're not, especially get Stephon Gilmore. And Mr. INT, Bill Belichick said during his press conference during the season that all, you know, J.C. Jackson does is, you know, it's like he's picking up trash. Like, it was just kind of like, it's just another thing, you know. It's just picking up trash on the street, you know. That's how he picks balls off. Like, it's trash. Because he doesn't think he's worthy of a contract. And J.C. Jackson's calling him out. So Bill's going to say, there's the fucking door. And don't let it hit in the ass on the way out. Because take your 17.3. We're going to take our $17 million and go spend it somewhere else. on a wide receiver or whatever. Maybe another cornerback, whoever that may be, because there's really no one out there. If you look at the cornerbacks, J.C. Jackson's probably the top cornerback in the market, because the rest, probably average, right? I don't know that. I'm just, saying, like, all I know is J.C. Jackson, and then what else is it? What else is there? You know what I mean? So, because he's probably the best option for the Patriots, but because he opened up his mouth, he's not going to be here. So that's my take on that. And the staggering numbers of when Brady was here from, the record was, from 2010 to 2019, winning records with average cornerback play for probably about 2010, 2011, 2012. 2014, you had Revis. 2018, you had Gilmore and McCourty. So, it's pretty decent cornerback play. But like I said, you need to go look harder, I should say, for a cornerback now, because you don't have that leverage anymore. And that's going to be more on Bill's plate. So, but J.C. Jackson really messed it up for himself. So having said that, I am going to wrap it up, and I'm going to talk to you guys next week. Also going to start the draft show. It's going to be called Steve's Draft Board. And I'm going to start with the linebackers next week. And I'll talk to you next week. Have a good week.